But it's well, at the time, 250,000, if you can believe it. Oh my goodness gracious. I wish we would have bought 100 of them back then, right? And what's your guess? Which one did better? Get it inside, badass backyard.
I'm gonna guess the backyard, but there might be a little bias there.
Yeah, obviously. And when you think about it, right, it's like we're catering to the traveler, right? If we were catering to long term tenants, probably the house that was more renovated and everything would be more of a draw, right? But when we decked it out and made it really fun, and we're catering to the traveler, the house did the house with the decked out backyard, spending half as the amount of money, did about 15% returns higher the following year, and that many more bookings. The other did increase, but only about 5%. So it was those kinds of things that, well, and obviously things have changed now. Now you have to have a pool and a hot tub and a, right? And that home is now that has the four market countertops finally upgraded just last year. But gosh darn it, that stinking house didn't do 100 grand a year back in the day, even with four market countertops. So go figure, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the market has become so competitive now. So all these observations that you are making and all the ways that you are modifying and improving these properties, I'm sure are helping you stand out. What other kind of advice would you give to someone when it comes to being competitive in the market?
If you look at the houses that are for sale right now that are obviously short term rentals, the thing that I notice the most is that for the most part, I'm not saying all of them, but for the most part, my guess why they're selling is that they did not spend the money to design to the experience.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show. I'm your host, Erika, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Leslie Sonnier. She's shaken things up in the short term rental space with her innovative approach to hospitality. Leslie, it's so awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you, Erica. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what you have to share. So let's just jump on in. Can you tell us more about your journey? How did you get into real estate?
Yeah, so I've been in the hospitality space since after college, traveling for a year, and got the travel bug. And so that's the hospitality piece of the real estate business, I guess you can say. And then I happened into the short term rental space with my own personal home. Early 2014 was that I took a sabbatical for 2 months to go travel with good friends of mine from Austin, and said, "Oh, I'm renting out my condo on this newer site called Airbnb. Have you ever heard of it before?" And I was like, "Oh, isn't that the air mattress company?" And I was like, "Well, it's a little bit different, but you can have air mattresses, I guess, if you want to." And yeah, that started my house. My personal house was the 20th listing on Airbnb in the Scottsdale area ever. And to put things in perspective, there's now over 6,000 of them. So I just kind of happened to get in on the ground up by accident. And that's kind of how it started the journey. long time ago.
That's such a cool origin story, and man, it's just hard to think of a time that there were so few Airbnb listings, you know?
Yes, it still kind of blows my mind because that was only 11 years ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, things have really changed since then. What was the moment for you that got you hooked, that you knew this was your lane?
It was a period of time, about 2 years, honestly, that I still had my full-time job and I was doing this kind of like for fun. But my family and I did some really fun tests with a couple of houses that they purchased, and I was able to keep some really cool stats really early on, of like, okay, well, if we just added a hot tub to this property, this four bedroom, and not to this four bedroom, what happens to returns? How long does it take to pay this back? What if we added a putting green to this one and not to this one? What happens? And with one of them, the most interesting one is we had two four-bedroom houses. Okay. One, my house, my investment property, I gutted the inside. Okay. And raised the ceiling, took away walls, opened it up, all new appliances, all new everything. Okay. Kept the pool. It had a pool and a hot tub in the backyard, but that was it. Okay. The other house, my parents' own, really right around the corner, that was a four bedroom. To that house, we kept the Formica countertops, okay? Kept the kitchen as is, didn't move any walls. It was very choppy, okay? But in the backyard, spent 25 grand decking it out, putting a gigantic bar and grill and a fire pit and some designs that I found in the backyard and backyards on Houzz. Remember that app? I don't even know if they are around anymore. We're like, how do we make this look like one of those $10 million houses, but well, at the time, 250,000, if you can believe it. Oh my goodness gracious. I wish we would have bought 100 of them back then, right? And what's your guess? Which one did better? Gutted inside, badass backyard.
I'm gonna guess the backyard, but there might be a little bias there.
Yeah, obviously. And when you think about it, right, it's like we're catering to the traveler, right? If we were catering to long-term tenants, probably the house that was more renovated and everything would be more of a draw, right? But when we decked it out and made it really fun and we're catering to the traveler, the house with the decked out backyard spending the amount of money, did about 15% returns higher the following year, and that many more bookings. The other did increase, but only about 5%. So it was those kinds of things well, and obviously things have changed now. Now you have to have a pool and a hot tub and right? And that home is now that has the Formica countertops finally upgraded just last year. But gosh darn it, that stinking house didn't do 100 grand a year back in the day, even with Formica countertops. So go figure, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the market has become so competitive now. So all these observations that you are making and all the ways that you are modifying and improving these properties, I'm sure are helping you stand out. What other kind of advice would you give to someone when it comes to being competitive in the market?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
If you look at the houses that are for sale right now that are obviously short-term rentals, the thing that I notice the most is that for the most part, I'm not saying all of them, but for the most part, my guess why they're selling is that they did not spend the money to design to the experience. They have grandma's furniture in it still. They don't have the Instagram worthy walls. It clearly was not professionally designed. And so when people are making choices about their vacations, one, by the photos and the appealing of the eye, or they have crappy photos. I mean, just something as simple as that can make all the difference in the world for our space when that's how people are really choosing where they're going to stay before they start looking at descriptions and things like that. So number one is designing to the experience is the number one. I believe also, and one of the things that in the second time around, now that I'm recreating the business, we're going to be creating experiences while people are actually at the home that they get for free. So as an example, I have a 7-year-old and he would love to play at all times. And so we're going to have a series of homes that have a treasure hunt in them. So when families book my homes, they get the treasure hunt for free and they get all those fun pictures and things like that. So there's some other interesting ideas that we're rolling out to test out and stuff. But man, if I can make the homes not just a home that they're renting, but an experience, that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense how it could be such a game changer. For someone who's new to this, how do you decide what type of design choices that add the experiences to put in a home? What is that process like?
Frankly, hire a professional. There's plenty of short-term rental professionals, and there's some good ones. There's some not good ones, but you can tell by their photos and by how they operate their business and what their pricing and stuff looks like. The one key I would say is there's the questions that you need to ask the design team are: do I get your wholesale pricing, or do you upcharge the wholesale pricing? Okay, that's the number one key, because most design companies, they go to trade shows and get wholesale items. But if they're charging a design fee plus they're charging an upcharge, then they're making a lot more money. You're not getting as good of a value or bang for your buck. With our design team, yes, there's a design fee, but the design fee almost pays for itself because we're giving you our wholesale discounts. Where a pillow top mattress, as an example, those cost $1,500 to $3,000. We're getting them for $350. We're giving you our cost for those, so that we can spend the money on the really cool design features, like a custom muralist to come and do a really cool mural on the backyard fence that has the pool in front of it. So the picture of the pool is not just a picture of a blah, it's a picture of a pool with a space that you want to take your family photos with the background, as an example. Where do we save money on cost but not quality, so that we can spend money on the things that people tend to book?
Yeah,
Hire a
absolutely.
professional.
Yes. Earlier when we were chatting before we hit record, you had talked about bringing vitality back to hospitality. For you, how do you define generosity in the short-term rental space?
So I believe the heart of hospitality is generosity. And like I said, that looks like doing something above and beyond what others are not. Even in the very beginning, the one thing I identified right away, because I was in the resort space, is, man, all of these short-term rent, the 20 that were existing at the time, right, which obviously grew pretty fast, but none of them offered full service concierge. And I'm like, well, yeah, you have a home, can be less expensive or a better value for your vacation stays. You're getting so many bedrooms, but they weren't doing a full service concierge. So I was one of the early adopters of that, just because that's what I was used to. Right. So when bachelorette parties came to town, as an example, we would get them front row into getting into bars and restaurants, and the connections that I just had in Scottsdale, being honestly young and in my 20s. So I was 28 when I started the business. So different stage than I am at this point in life. But I'm like, well, why don't I give it those really cool benefits? Right. And that's just the concierge services that we offered just grew and grew and grew over the years. But yeah, heart of hospitality is generosity, and having the phones working 24/7. It doesn't have to be, generosity can be in your time, or your staff's time, or your team's time. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, we're going to go cook breakfast for you. It can be just like, hey, you don't want your vacation to mess up. If a toilet clogs at 3 a.m, you want somebody to be out there fixing it, not having to wait until 10 a.m., which a lot of companies, a lot of individuals who do co-hosting, they don't have 24-hour customer service. We do. That's the heart of generosity to me.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet. for real estate investors and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. But would you say are there any specific moments that, guests have told you about or given you feedback that validated your focus on generosity?
I mean, all the time. I think that our return client base was the key indicator that showed that. And I still get calls to this day, even though I sold the original business 2.5 years ago, I still get calls and texts all the time of people who are like, "Well, who would you stay with? Where if you're not in it? Oh, boo, you're not in it anymore." So I'm excited, and when I get that next text to say, "Yeah, I'm back and better than ever." So yeah, I think the return client base is the proof in the pudding, if you will.
Love that. For our new investors who want to get into short-term rentals, what's one misconception that you find?
This is a fun one. Ready for this? So I hear this all the time, and I actually looked up stats recently. When people say, "Well, short-term rentals, they're just so hard on the property, and it's just got to be a cleaning nightmare," and like all centered around cleaning. Okay, fun fact, fun stat. In America, I'm not just saying like if you have an investment property, and I'm just comparing right now, having a long-term tenant, a 1-year tenant or a 2-year tenant versus having short term less than 30 days. Okay, so that's my basis of comparison here. Did you know that only 10% of Americans have a professional housekeeper? And I don't know the stats for renters versus owners, but I'm just going to surmise. Ooh, what a good word, surmise. I'm just going to surmise that a lesser portion of that 10% are renters. Just an idea, just a thought, okay? Where our houses are professionally cleaned 3 to 5 times a month. And then we have another team that goes in after to make sure the cleaners did a good job, right? So from a cleaning perspective, okay, and guests are very educated about this cleaning perspective because the number one thing is if, gosh darn it, if there's a hair in the bathroom, we're going to hear about it. So our cleaning standards are so top notch that in general, now, is there going to be wear and tear? Of course, you're going to have to repaint the baseboards every 2 years, right? But you'd have to do that if you had a long-term tenant also. But the cleaning piece is the biggest misconception of long-term tenants to short-term tenants, in my opinion. Anyway, I thought that was a kind of a fun fact.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. And Leslie, I'm sure with all the properties that you've worked on and changed and have done these short-term rentals that you've seen something maybe where things didn't go as planned or a property didn't perform how you wanted to. Would you mind sharing one of those moments and how did you navigate that?
Yes. One of the things that I think sometimes I'm a little bit too nice when it comes to the confidence of knowing what I know a property can do if we have complete control over the experience, starting with design. And one of the things that happened a couple of times, for the most part, we really attracted people who were like, "I trust you, just make me the most money. And yes, we'd like to use it when we're there, and we'll like whatever you put in there, right?" But sometimes people are like, "Well, I really love the color navy blue, and I would really like my home to be lots of navy blue." And navy blue, for instance, when your entire house is that way, when you get to the third picture, your eyes go naturally, go like, "I'm not interested." Okay. So when we allowed homeowners to have a big say in design, okay, we have a big say in design, like this is the theme that I really want, we found that our returns were not as great. So again, I'm kind of hedging back on the same conversation of let us design it, let us furnish it, let us do what we know how to do. Because gosh darn it, I have so many stats that are going to get me nowhere else except for this industry. I know what it needs to look like in order to get the most bookings. You trust me, and the world will change. So I think that's the biggest thing if I look at overall all of the experiences.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it comes down to people making connections and actually making use of those connections. In this instance, you. And Leslie, for you and your time in real estate, how has networking helped your business? Do you have any advice for our listeners who are new to real estate?
There's so many really cool networking groups, and you'll find that some are better than others, and depending on what your vision is, right? So I think the first is figuring out what's your vision. Do you want to be the real estate professional or do you want to be the real estate investor? Those are two different conversations. And there's nothing wrong with one versus the other. Frankly, back in 2014, I wish I had the Leslie investor hat on more often because I would not be restarting the business. I would be fully retired if I had bought 10 houses for 250 grand. Well, one could argue that 10 years from now, I would be having the same conversation and saying, man, I really wish that I would have bought 10 houses at 850 grand in Scottsdale because those are now worth $2 million, right? So it's, if you, this is Leslie investor hat, if that's okay. Okay. Because I can do the property management hat. I can do the investor hat. Okay. So this is Leslie investor hat. Okay. Is I am back on a path. I had to sell all my properties because of divorce. So I'm starting all over again myself. And one of the things that has been my personal conundrum over the last even 2 years is, okay, so what if I just wait for the right time? I got myself in the let's just wait for the right time mode that I think people really can get caught up on. But if you think about it and shift your perspective to if you buy one house every year over the next 10 years, okay, you're going to buy at the peak and you're going to buy at the bottom, right? It's statistically over 10 years, you're going to buy at the peak and you're going to buy at the bottom, okay? But the cool thing about America is once you have a mortgage, right, and you get the right kind of mortgage where it's a set mortgage, if it's cash flowing at that point in time, it's probably going to continue to cash flow. So even if you bought at the top, right, and it's cash flowing, or at least it's paying for your mortgage, right? If somebody else is paying for your mortgage, woohoo, skippity doo, right? But if the house is not cash flowing when you purchase, don't purchase it. And this is if you're getting a long-term tenant or a short-term, by the way. Okay. So that's my, and this is something that, again, this is my own personal vision on the side of doing this for other people is searching out and finding the ones for myself. I don't know if that helps answer the question. I went
Yeah.
on a tangent.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah. No, that was great, Leslie. And Leslie, what is the next big move that you have, whether it's with your short-term rentals, or I know there was some news that you were pretty excited about that you wanted to share.
Yes. So in the space of I'm starting from zero, and at the peak of my property management business, I was managing 137 properties at a time, which obviously there's turnover. So I've managed hundreds of them over the 9 years that I had the business, right? So when you're used to managing in the hundreds and I'm starting with zero and starting all over, I am like, oh my gosh, I want to hire a bunch of people that I really love and appreciate and can take things off my plate. But I need to be at that critical mass of 20 in order to do so. So I am running a really cool promotion where I am personally investing. Okay, I'm personally investing $5,000 to $10,000 of my own money into the right home. I'm not saying I'm going to do it for everyone, okay? Into the right home that I know that I can make a difference in the revenue because of the last $5,000 to $10,000 that I personally invest. Okay, so it could look like you have a home, you're with another property manager, and you're like, I'm kind of iffy about this relationship, or they kind of weren't doing that great as they said, or, oh, they don't answer the phone, right? Give me a shot, give me a chance. Okay. Because I know if with that $5,000 to $10,000 investment, like a $10,000 investment, I can convert a garage into a game room and bedroom that is going to exponentially increase revenue. I know with $5,000, I can do a mural on the backyard fence right next to the pool, and people are going to, the bookings just drive through the roof right there. Okay. So I'm looking for people who are looking for a longer term relationship. Let me invest in you. Let me invest in your property. Let me invest in this relationship. And so far, what I've heard, because I'm fairly known in the industry. I haven't heard anybody else doing this as a promotion to start their business. So I'm pretty stoked about it because it leads with generosity. It leads with inspiration, leads from the heart of who I am. Right. And again, I'm pretty excited about the being able for people to follow those stats, seeing the before and after photos, seeing the before and after revenue that you'll be able to follow and see over the next year, 2 year, 3 years of what this promotion is able to produce. Because I'm confident in myself, and all of the, like I said, useless information is going to get me nowhere else except for this industry. So might as well share that with others.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really exciting. And, you have more than one exciting thing going on because you were talking to me about accessibility. Can you talk more about that too?
Yes, yes, yes. So, one of my visions is how do I do something different this time around that can make an impact? And yesterday I had a very incredible conversation with a man named Barry, who is out to transform the entire real estate industry. He wasn't even talking about short term rentals, but obviously that's how my brain thinks, right? And one of the things that's lacking with the MLS is across the nation, except for in the state of Washington, okay, is for homes that are clearly designated when they hit the MLS. Are they accessible or are they not? I learned yesterday as an example, there's like 8 types of accessibility, but in general, people want to steer clear of it because they don't want to get in trouble. Well, he has created a platform and a class that was just approved yesterday by the national MLS services that people from all states, if you're a real estate professional, can take a class and a course. It's not even very much money, but man, if you want to set yourself apart, you want to set yourself apart in real estate. And again, forget short-term rentals, okay? And you take this class, it's a 10-hour class. You can get a continuing education credit for it. Then you will be above and beyond because if you think about it, okay, just the easy stats, the largest group of Americans to retire, okay, are retiring right now as we speak. Okay. They're not downsizing, they're side sizing. Okay. If they have a 2-bedroom house, they're buying another house that has all one floor, as an example. Accessibility, okay, accessibility is going to be really important as walkers are involved in wheelchairs and things like that. So, to be able to understand how a home can be either retrofit, okay, and understand how to cater to this gigantic set of population. I believe in the real estate market. Man, if you're hearing this and you want to be ahead of the ball game, when things are a lot more competitive now than they were 5 years ago, this is your in. So I'll have to send a link to you guys to advertise that too, by the way. And this is just helping your friend. I don't make anything out of this, by the way. This is just a side note, okay? One thing that I found out yesterday in this conversation, okay, is that the short-term rental space has not caught up either, probably again because it can be complicated and you don't want to say the wrong thing and everything else. But what he was sharing is that there's a property that he stayed in on the Oregon coast border that they designed the entire house or they created the entire house for full accessibility. That place is 2 years booked out. 2 years booked out, and the community is small. The community is the community of accessibility is small. Where my heart is multi-generational family reunions. So if grandma and grandpa need spaces where they're not going to trip on a transition or something like that, some of the things he was talking about are not that difficult to retrofit. So I'm going to be in a big learning process right now for that. Another is there's a whole bunch of kids, the kiddos out there that again is my heart as a mom and that right now are forced to stay in hotels because houses in general aren't accommodating to accessibility. It's a journey that I'm actually going to be on. And again, this is a brand new conversation. First to hear it, y'all. as of yesterday. But yeah, if you're interested in that course, then I'm happy to share that with you guys. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll be sharing how to take that class and be ahead of the ball games.
Yeah, wow. There's a lot of exciting things going on. I just love it. Leslie, this has been such an insightful conversation. If someone wants to connect with you, learn more about short-term rentals, or maybe, they need help with the Airbnb projects that they have, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, so I've my personality is quirky. Try to make it a little bit funny and fun. I'm operating right now just in the state of Arizona. So, obviously, if you have a home here or you like a second home where other people are paying for your mortgage, obviously follow me on Instagram, reach out to me at Cortiva Collection, Cortiva Collection at Cortiva Collection, and you'll see lots of videos and posts of inspirational quotes that I really like, and some design features and ideas. If you're a professional in other states, even our state, I don't care. There's professional property managers are needed, and I don't see anybody as competition, to be honest with you. I think we can all excel and win and learn from each other. So I'll have some really cool design tips and ideas, and like, hey, here's what I buy from Amazon when I shop for these houses, right? So I'll be giving a lot of free tips that anybody can use to drive bookings and drive revenue. So yeah, at Cortiva Collection is how to find me the easiest and laugh a little bit.
I love how you're bringing generosity back into the real estate space. It's inspiring and it's clearly working. Thank you so much
Aw,
for being on the show today.
thank you, Erica. You're wonderful. Have a lovely day.
You too. And for everyone listening, if you got value from this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the Real Estate Pro Show. We've got more conversations with operators like Leslie, who are building incredible real estate businesses. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.